This conference will now be recorded.
Uh, okay, on to the yesterday's question. Were you able to connect to the Mac OS, the Google Cloud instance?
No, actually, I was not able to connect using the browser option, but using
Uh,
Cloud Shell, yes, I'm able to.
okay, all right. So there's one more option I found over here, like you can create a public and a private key, and
Oh,
then go
yeah,
to your instance and give a public. That's one more option is there,
yeah, something
just
like
like this.
in AWS, the same thing we do.
Exactly. It's the same way. Yeah. I'll just put it in the chat window just for your reference.
Okay,
So it's the same way. You just need to create there in AWS. You get the key pair. You generate the key pair. Same thing here. From the console, you can
mm-hmm.
create a key pair
Mm-hmm.
and then copy the public key or here. Let's show you. If you just go to the instance.
Okay, one second.
Say right now you have 0 SSH keys. You can edit here and enter the public SSH key here.
One second, one second. Actually, I'm not on my
Yeah,
laptop
that's okay.
on this meeting,
Yeah, you can
so
you can just try that out later on if
yeah, I'll
you
do that later.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So we'll continue with where we left yesterday, the shell scripting. We got to understand a little bit about what are the variables, how to make them permanent, and what are the different kinds of shells are available, and things like that. So today we will continue with more about the shell variables. Let me connect to the instance and we will look at some of the lab exercises. Okay. Okay. So let me create a folder here and say shell scripting. Okay. And we'll go to that folder and we'll get started. So each we have a standard when we write a shell script. We usually maintain a standard. So let's create a template first, and then we'll be using that template throughout when we write a shell script. Okay, so let's go with this one. Uh, or here I'll add that's the first line. That's a shebang operator. I will say I'm using the bash shell here, first line. And the second line I will add like what is the purpose of this script. Okay, let's say this is a template. This is a template. Okay, and sometimes you need to even provide your email address, like if somebody wants to contact and understand what this script is. So you can just give some details here, info at yeah, gmail.com or your company details there. And what are the input and the output parameters that this script takes in? So input, there is anything, we'll provide it here, and the output parameter. There's no hard rule that you need to follow this, but it makes it look more clear, and what is the script doing, what are the details, input and the parameters you're passing. You can add in more details if you want here. Okay, this is just a template, and just save this one now. Okay, so let's copy this template and create our first script. Okay, so we'll go to the first script.sh. All right. Okay. So the first option here is we will take an argument from the command line, and then we will use it in our script. Okay, so for that, I will be defining a variable here with the name my variable, and note that we are keeping this in capital letters. That's a standard recommendation, and we'll go with $1. So I'm taking one input from the command line, and I don't know anything. I just want to display that, saying that the value of dollar, my value of, you can say, my var is dollar my var. Simple, nothing much here. I'm just reading one argument and I'm displaying that argument onto the console. So let me save this file now. Okay. If I have a look at the permissions, file permissions, you can see that it's having only read, write, and for the users, it is only the read. So I need, if I want to run the script, let's say I want to run the script, I need to copy the entire name there. It will not show that. I'll just copy the script. It will say that the permission is denied. So in that case, I must go and change the permissions. So either I can go with execute. It'll apply the execute on all the users, groups, and the other users here. Or I can go with this option like 755 to give the execute access. So anything is fine. I can simply go and say execute first script.sh. Okay. Now if I go and see back, the execute option is now being applied to the root user, group user, and the user I'm going to execute. This is the user. Okay. So now let's go and execute it. So this is how you execute a script. All right. So it's saying the value for my var unexpected because we haven't passed any argument here. So let's pass an argument. It can be anything like just say 100. I'll pass it. There is some unexpected error. Let's go and see that. VI. Okay, this is the an extra tilde was there. That was the error. Let me save this again. See, this was error. So this, let me run the script again now. I'll give some value like 500. You can see that the value of my var is 500. Okay. So like this, I can pass up to 9 variables like we saw over here. Some $1 to $9, I can pass 9 arguments to the script. So if I pass 2 variables, then the second one will be $2, $3, $4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 9. So 9 arguments I can pass to the script. Is it clear? Like any questions here? So this is one way wherein we can pass an argument to the script. This is the first method, command line arguments. Now let's look at the second option, that is read input during the script execution. Okay. So now let's go back here. Let's clear this, and we will copy a template and say read. We will create one more script, read.sh. Okay. Let's go to the read.sh file, and we'll edit the purpose. This is a read script. It's a read script. Over here, let me take a variable again, and in here I'll take $1 as first argument, and let me take a second argument, which will be say $2. Okay, and let me go with I'll display like similarly I can go and display echo the values entered are, let's say, dollar myvar and dollar arg2. Okay, so I can do this. This is one option. Likewise, I can define up to 9 arguments. I can assign that to a variable within my script, and I can make use of that in the script in this format. I can display or I can manipulate those in my script in this manner. Now let's take one example where I want to have a looping. Basically, I want to sum. I will randomly enter 5 values, and it should give me a sum of those 5 values. Okay, so in that case, what I'll do is let me define a variable here and say sum is equal to 0. Okay, and I'll go with the for loop. I'll define a variable I. I'm saying that enter 5 values. I'll be prompting the user to enter 5 values. So this is a syntax. It starts with the for, and this is a variable, and it goes up to 5, 1 to 5. So it takes in 5 values there. I'll prompt the user here saying that please enter a value. Okay, and I will read it. So this is the command, a read command. I'll read it in a variable called as sum value. Okay, I'll read the input in this variable. All right, and then I'm going to sum it, going with this option here. I will say sum value plus sum. So I'm reading the value here. Sum value is already 0, so I'm keep on adding the value here, and I'll assign it to the variable back here. Right. So once I'm done with this final, you end the start with do and you end with the done statement, and finally I'm going to echo just say the sum value. All right. So let me save this, and we will go with this option. Okay. Let me change the mod. Okay. I'll execute this script now. I'll enter 2 values, 100 and 500. So it'll initially show that, okay, the values entered are 100 and 500. Now it is again prompting the user, please enter a value. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and finally, this is the sum that is displayed there. Okay, makes sense there. This is how the script looks like. So initially, I'm just taking 2 arguments and I'm displaying that like this. And if I want to prompt the user for entering a value, then I use a read command. And I capture that value over here, and then I'm calculating the sum using this command. We look at the syntax of the for each for loop. Like just went ahead and I was just showing how to use the looping. Okay, this is how the syntax for looks like. For we have the do and the done at the last. In between, we have the computation that we want, the command block that we can add over here. Okay, just don't worry about the for loop. We'll come to that later. But just I wanted to show that how we'll use the read command. This is one of the options that we have. If you want to input any argument, or you want to pass in any, you are prompting a user for any input, then you can make use of the read command there. So any questions on this one?
No.
All right. We'll go with the third option then. Let me know if you have any questions so that you're able to get the concept here. Like, so one is the command line wherein you pass the arguments. Second is your reading input during the script execution. And let's look at the third option, that is a standard input. Okay. So for that, let's clear this. We will go and create a employee .txt file. Okay, in this file, let me say first I'll give as a name. First column is a name and experience, something like that, and designation, and some kind of a role or something. Okay, let me add some 4 columns here. Name, I can take it as Sam. He's having, let's say, 10 years of experience. Designation, some TL. Role, or let's say he's a developer or something like that. Okay, then we have Tom. He's having, like, say, for 7 years. He's a software engineer, and his role is a tester role, or a QA, you can say. He's a QA. There's got another guy called Peter. He's having, let's say, 8 years of experience. He's a DevOps guy. Let's put him as a DevOps guy. He is a software engineer again, and let's put it as a DevOps, like this, something like that. Okay, so we just added this file here, so you can have n number of entries here. So we just added 4 columns: name, experience, designation, and a role. Okay, now we want to pass this file as a input to the script. So let's see how we can do that. Okay, we'll copy a template and say stdin.sh, one of the script name. So we'll go to the script. This is standard input script. Okay, so here what we'll do is we'll echo and say employee details. We want to say that employee details, And over here, we will get the inputs via the standard input option. This is the way how we get the standard input option from here. And we will, there are 4 columns as we have seen, right? And we just want to display, let's say, first and the fourth column. So we can cut the columns, and which fields we want, which column we want, we can display that. So here I'm using a delimiter as a space there in between the columns, and out of that I want to display the fields, let's say field 1 and field 4. Okay, so this is how I can go and write the option there. Okay, simply the employee details and then the cat command. I'll read the standard input and I'll pass it. I will go with the delimiter and display only the fields 1 and 4. Okay, so let me save this file. Okay, I will change the mod for the script. What I'll do is I'll go with the employee text and I will pipe it to my script here. Okay, you can see that I'm passing this entire file as an input to the script. It is being read in the script and it is displaying the employee details. Okay, it's displaying the first and the fourth column. Okay, the same thing I can make use of. There's one more command called as awk command. So if I go back to this std in, I can change this. Instead of using the cut command, I can even make use of the awk command. So there's a command called as awk command, and here I can just display, I can print, let's say $2 and $3. It can be anything, $2 or $3. Now the advantage here using the awk command is you need not have a delimiter here. Sometimes the delimiter, there might be, I'll tell you where this is useful. Let's say, let me save this now. So if I go back, okay, the result will be the same. If I run now, you should be able to see that, okay, this is second and the third column. But if I go to the employee.txt and let's say the space is not maintained, okay, let's say there is 2 spaces here and there is a space here. So the delimiter is not consistent. See, you can see 2 spaces here and 1 space here. In that case, if I want to go and run now, okay, not this one. Let me go with second and we want the third one, right? Okay, I'll add it like this. Add it like this. Okay, I'm adding more spaces here. So let me save this. Okay, and I want to run the command again. You'll still get the same result. But if I go back and say I go to std in, so I just comment this out and run this same way, like I want second and the third column. I can save this. Okay, if I want to run the command again, you can see that there is some problem here because the delimiter is not consistent. We have added more space in between the columns, right? So this will not be able to pick it up in the correct way. So in that situations, awk command is consistent. So you can make use of the awk command. That is more helpful than the cut command. Okay, so this is how the script looks like. Say for example, you want to understand what the cut command is doing. You can always go to the manual and say, this is very useful. Like any command you want to check the details and you want to know the manual documentation about that command, you can simply type in man and give in the command name there. So it'll take you to that page wherein you can explore what that command is doing. It'll give a brief description. Let's say I want to display the fields here, and T is the delimiter that I'm using. F is the fields I want to display there. Okay. So likewise, any command that you want to understand what it is doing, just type in man and type in the command name. It'll give all the details. Sometimes some examples are also displayed there. Okay. Same is the case with the awk command. I just type there. So it will give you the details about the awk command. And I would suggest that there is a lot of things to learn with the awk command. So you can, I'll just go with one of these, let's say. There's a lot of programming that can be done with the awk command. It's very important command. So awk tutorial, let's go to this one. Yeah, you can go with any of these URLs like tutorial point or anything, and just try to explore more on the awk command, because that is widely used in the scripting. What happens is you want to display, you have got 10 columns. Out of 10 columns, you want to filter it out and display only relevant columns like 1, 3 or 1, 5 or 2, 5 or something like that. Then this awk command is very useful. This is you can just go through some examples here. You can run through some prerequisites and some examples. It will be useful there. So you can use the regular expressions, arrays, control loops. A lot of things can be done using this awk command. So I'll not be able to cover all of these here, but just to be aware that you can make use of this awk command in multiple ways and multiple scenarios. So you'll get some examples here. Okay, see, this is how the text is there and you're displaying, you're printing something here. So you want to go with this output, you want to modify or display in this particular format, and then you can go with the awk command. So I'll just put it in the chat window just for your reference. Okay, any other questions till this point, what we have discussed? So we have seen these three options. One is the command line arguments, second is the read one, third is the standard input. I know it takes some time for you guys to digest the new things, but it's pretty straightforward if you have understood, like if you are aware of any of the programming languages, the syntax and all is very simple. Let's say this is one of the thing I wanted to explain here, how you go with the echo command. Okay, how the echo command works. So echo is basically used to display the contents onto the console. Now I have a variable, let's say I have a variable and I go with a single quote. What happens? Okay, let's see that. Let me clear this. Go to the environment variables. I can see anything there. Yeah, let's say myvar is there. Myvar is holding a value of 500. Let me clear this and echo. I'll go with a single quote and say $myvar. Okay, in this case, what happens? It will simply display whatever is there in the single quotes. Okay, now the same thing if I wrap it in a double quotes and say $myvar, you can see the difference there. So right now there's no value there, or I can export myvar, say 300, and now if I type in, you can see that when I go with the double quotes, it will display the contents of this variable. Single quotes is simply you're printing whatever is there in the single quotes. Double quotes, it will substitute $myvar, what the value of the variable. So whenever you want to display the contents of a variable, you simply go with the dollar symbol and give the variable name. You can see the value being displayed there. Okay, and there's one more method that is there. We'll come to this later on. What this does is, let's say I assign a value like bin ls. Okay, I want to list. Okay, usually when I go with ls, what it does is it will display, it will list basically all the files there available there. Now what I'll do is export. Let me assign this value there. If I say which ls, okay, I'll assign this value to a variable. Okay, now I want to go with this $var. In this case, what will happen is, now variable is assigned this particular value. This command will be run whenever I go with the echo $var. Echo $var, it will simply display the contents. Now I want to run this as a command. In that case, I go with this backtick option here and say $var. And go with the backtick option. You can see that it is running this as a command instead of displaying the value there. I can even go with this way, $var. This also does the same thing. Okay, there are three ways. So one is single quote. Whatever is there in the single quote, it will print as it is. Doesn't matter whether it's a variable or not. It doesn't care there. It will just display as it is. It will print as it is. Let's say I want to I want the value that is stored in the variable. I go with the double quotes. It will display the contents of the variable. And in case I want to run or evaluate and run it as a command, then I go with the either this way, or I can run in dollar and I'll run the echo command in this format. So those are the three ways I just mentioned here. So one is it'll display simply the value contained in the single quotes. It'll display the contents of the variable. Maybe you can put directly $var or you can put it in double quotes, doesn't matter. And the third one is it will evaluate and runs the value as a command. So the variable is holding some value, it will evaluate and it will run it as a command. Okay, and there is a way that, let's say I've assigned a variable, I want to unset it, I want to remove that variable from memory. Then I can simply go with unset command and give the variable name there, and it will remove that variable from memory. So you can use the unset command to remove a variable from the memory. All right, any questions till this point? So what I'll be doing is I'll be sharing this script files for your reference. I'm thinking to add it to S3 bucket so that you'll have a handy reference instead of me sending it in on an email. I'll add it to S3 bucket so that you can refer to these files whenever you are practicing, or for it'll be a handy reference for you guys. So I'll put it in S3 bucket and I'll give access. Probably I'll need your email addresses so that I can give access to these files there. So let me do it. It might take 1 or 2 days, but I'll add all the files to the bucket so that you can have access to those files. All right. Any questions? Any doubts?
Not right now.
So how familiar? Okay, so how familiar you guys are with programming, at least the basics of, let's say, any programming language, C language, or you have come across anything in your previous experience, or you learned somewhere, you have some experience. So how do you feel like up to this point? Like, is it completely new, or you have some programming understanding, syntaxes, if conditions like that?
I'm totally new to the coding.
Oh, okay, all right. So, how do you feel? Like, is it like
It's taking
you're
a
able
bit
to
time.
understand the con?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Okay.
taking a bit time. Maybe sure I'm gonna get back to you by Friday with all my doubts. I'm pretty sure on that.
All right. All right.
I'm trying to get myself. I'm referring each class a couple of times. So where I'm breaking up with the concept or where I'm going through, so I can make it done by Friday. This Friday I'm gonna get back to you with all the update. I mean, all my doubts and everything. But I'm saying
Sure, sure.
I had a zero knowledge on the coding, so it's taking a bit longer time compared to others for me.
All right. Yeah. This is okay. Yeah. That is really this shell scripting doesn't include that much of a programming. This is at the very basic components of programming that we use here. That is the if conditions, loops, and things like that. So it's very basic and bare minimum of the programming syntaxes that we use here. So nothing to worry. It might initially seem little, since it is new, you might feel it little new. And as you start working and getting familiarized with the commands and the syntaxes, it'll gradually you will be able to get it in a couple of days there. Okay. All right. I think we'll stop it here if you don't have any questions, because we have went through a lot of concepts and programming and scripting today. So I guess let's stop it here, and tomorrow we'll have a look at the if conditions, and we'll talk more about the we'll talk more about the looping concepts. We'll talk about the foreground script, background script, how to kill the script, how the jobs are being run, and things like that in the tomorrow's session. All right. So if you don't have any questions, then we'll stop it here then. Makes sense?
Okay.
I have one question. Do you guys have any example some Fibonacci programming, like a basic programming, so that we can get a practice with that one? All the scripting like commands, all commands we can use them, and we can run with the programming. So do you have any sample programmings with you?
I don't have at this moment. Maybe I'll find something. It's
Yeah,
again the
I
same
have
thing. Like
done actually. Yeah, I
yeah,
have done in my
only the
masters
syntax is
actually.
changing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So just I don't have that books and all those right now. So Just if you add that so that I can
Okay.
practice them, and so that we can get we can learn while practicing also some scripting. So that's why I'm just asking you guys.
Yeah, let me find it out, Karthik, if I find that Fibonacci series, but it should be the same what we saw today, right? The for each loop, what we tried, and we tried to sum up, we tried to create, aggregate all the inputs and create the sum, right?
Uh-huh.
So it should be on the same lines.
Same,
The
yeah.
logic would change. Yeah, only the looping concept, everything will remain the same because you're
Okay.
just adding 1, 3, 5, and so on and so forth, right?
Uh-huh.
So let
So
me see if I can find.
not only that one, any basic programming, like any basic, like 5 or 6 programming. So if I have anything basic program, so just share to my mail. I will provide you my email address. So just share to my email address so we can practice them. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Okay,
All
no
right.
problem. So
All right.
I'll
Thank you.
try to find it out. Okay.
All right. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. And what about the MacBook thing? Is it resolved? You're able to connect?
I'll look into this tomorrow because
All right.
I have to switch. Yeah.
No problem. So let me know if you're able to connect or still have any issues. We'll sort it out tomorrow then. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. We'll talk tomorrow then. Thank you so much.